Well, I'm joined in the studio by Hyde, who's a Syria researcher and Chatham House Associate Fellow. Thanks for coming into the studio, Hyde. Assad saying now everything is on the table. What does he actually mean by that? Because he's always, of course, before refused to talk about his future.
Unfortunately, it doesn't mean much on the ground because until now, Assad is still trying to capture the rest of Syria militarily. And at the same time, in the same statement, Assad said that he will negotiate with opposition that are Syrian opposition. And he's referring to basically the fact that those oppositions who are backed by foreign fighters are not real oppositions. Assad before said that all opposition groups are terrorist groups. And until now, I think Assad still doesn't recognize any of those groups. So this is why it would be quite difficult to really imagine any scenario in which Assad will recognize political opposition and then start negotiating with it.
And we still don't know what sort of opposition might be prepared to turn up.
Well, so far, many groups have been invited, including armed groups and political groups. But those groups, again, are not being recognized by Assad. I think what's important here is to highlight why Assad at this point said this, which contradicts what he said earlier in different statements. One of the main issues, I think, is related to the fact that Russia has been pressuring Assad, and the timing of it just happened after Russia announced the withdrawal of part of its forces inside Syria, which indicates that there is some kind of disagreement between Russia and the Syrian regime.
Which is, and it would be an interesting departure if that is the case. I mean, there's a lot of scepticism, obviously pessimism about these proposed talks in Astana. As we say, we still don't know what sort of opposition might turn up there. But we also have to point out, of course, that the UN-sponsored talks in Geneva barely achieved anything apart from a few ceasefires. I mean, those attempts failed as well.
Definitely, and this is why this shows that basically there is no genuine attempt from the Syrian regime in order to achieve anything. And unless there is a real pressure on the Syrian regime to start compromising and start accepting to share power with other groups, then there will be no end to the conflict in Syria. So far, opposition backers have been able to basically pressure those groups to accept to share power with Assad, but Assad allies have not been able to do the same. And unless we see change in this area, we will not be able to achieve anything.
What is also interesting is that we're currently in the midst of a Russia-Turkey-sponsored ceasefire. These talks in Astana are sponsored by Russia and Turkey. Why is it that Turkey has appeared to swing towards the way that Russia is involving itself in Syria and away from the UN efforts?
Well, mainly, Turkey's priority in Syria shifted dramatically in the recent months. Part of the issue is related to the fact that Kurdish forces, who are considered a national threat to Turkey, have been able to capture more areas close to the Turkish border. And Turkey is considering fighting those groups as a main priority. And to do so, Turkey had to basically restore ties with Russia in order to be able to send forces and fight Kurdish forces inside Syria. And I think this is why this change happened.
Really interesting to talk to you. Hyde, thanks for coming in. Thank you.
Thank you.